Morning YMCA. I'm Claire Scott-Booth, I'm Chief Executive of West London YMCA and I'm Chair of the Standards Steering Group. And it's been a real privilege for me to chair the steering group and see the InSync process through from its development of quality standards for the movement to a point where it's become an important part of the life of our movement. I'm not going to make a speech this morning because we have recently made, with the help of some students from Nottingham-Trent University, a video that tells us a little bit more, gives a flavour of what the InSync quality standards are all about. And we're going to see a few clips from it. The first one now lasts probably about 6 minutes to give you a flavour of what this is all about.
This time last year, I was in a right state. I couldn't get out of the house, I couldn't talk, I didn't look after myself, I didn't eat, I thought my life was, that was my life. But since coming to the YMCA, it's absolutely changed my life. I recommend anyone to come here to take it on board, take everything on board, and don't be shy, don't be fearless. People are here to help and they really truly do care. And grab both hands.
The accreditation is just the start. I mean, for us, it's the it's the start of a new thing for the YMCA movement. I mean, obviously, we'd love as many YMCAs, all YMCAs, to get this accreditation with us, and we'd like to help as many YMCAs do that. For us, it's been a really positive experience, and I'm hoping that in future that it will become like a platform on which the YMCA could develop the services that it does.
The thing about the YMCA InSync standards is they are unique to the YMCA and they cover all the areas of our work. So other standards like IIP or the Supporting People framework will only look at certain areas of our work. And InSync enables YMCA to get a much more rounded picture. Now we can use evidence more than once. My own YMCA recently did Investors in People, and we've just used the same evidence as evidence for InSync as well. So it hasn't caused us an awful lot of extra work. And I've also found with external funders, when they ask about quality standards, I've always explained that we're using the YMCA InSync standards, explain what it is, and we've never had a problem with that. We've never been asked to do an additional quality standard instead.
The whole InSync standards process is an opportunity to create some form of consistency within the movement.
I think if I met somebody who wasn't involved in the InSync process, I'd ask them why not. And usually for why not is then followed by, well, we haven't actually got the time. To which my argument would be, the chances are that you're actually doing everything that you need to do to complete the standards. All that's being asked is that you actually write it down. Within a particular workbooks, and then you actually formulate your evidence. Speaking as someone who took almost 2 years to do it, I'm going to now say it's actually not a big job. But we went through enormous changes in those 2 years, and I think it can be done a lot quicker. So if somebody was to say they're not doing the standards, I'd say why not? It's not as difficult as you think. And there are plenty of people to help you. There are plenty of people who you can phone up and would give you advice and information.
A lot of YMCAs are doing the work, and it is just a case of writing it down and evidencing it. But if there are areas where they aren't doing the work at the moment and they need to develop, there's a lot of support to do that within the movement, between YMCAs, through things like the regional forums where we get together, sharing information, and there's a lot of support out there for YMCAs if they want to take part in InSync.
Well, working with the different standards gave us not just a framework for looking at what we're doing, but it also made us really challenged the very core values of why we do certain things. For instance, the client involvement started off with us having a real hard look at our policy on member engagement, and we looked at that whole policy and said, well, what do we want to achieve here? Is it just about us getting information from our members, or is it about us using the process to help them develop as individuals?
I come here 15 months ago to the YMCA. For the first 3 months it was quite negative. I just used a place to sleep in, that was it. Didn't get involved in anything, didn't interact with nothing that was going on in the hostel, and told myself this is a better way of life than the life I've been living. Then I started getting involved in activities and certain groups that were going on in the hostel, and then I was asked to go on the members panel and become part of the members panel and the policies panel. That consists of, you know, anything, suggestions that come up, we'll sit down, we'll go through them, we'll discuss them, and then it'll be passed or not passed or sent to a team meeting and a decision will be made from there. I had a lot of input in things that have gone on in the hostel. I actually started a drug and alcohol group, discussion group up for people to come down of a Monday evening for 2 hours to sit in a relaxed atmosphere, you know, and just chat about the journey, where drugs have took them and what direction they're going in, if any. So that was up and running. That was a suggestion I made. I got the backing from the staff on that.
As an organisation that wants to be committed to quality and to standards, it's all about being committed to learning and being open-minded and being able to take information from a variety of sources. So it's not just about them as individuals developing, but us as an organisation learning from them and then learning from us.
The InSync process has made us think about how we do things, and as we went through that thinking process we identified certain gaps, and because of those gaps we have then had to consider ways of dealing with the gaps, and considering, for example, the one that comes to mind is regarding policies. We know we have policies, they're dotted around the organisation, but the InSync process has made sure that we have rationalised them all, we've got them all into one place, we go through a proper review of those policies. So a very helpful routine that we wouldn't have done had we not had the InSync process. It's prioritised and focused our thinking. I could only but recommend to any YMCA, please go through the sign up to the InSync process, but don't be fooled. You need to make sure that you go in with your eyes wide open. It's a challenge, but you will see some real benefits as a result of going through the procedures.